Hello, dear friends. This is Jeannie from Dollhouse Rescue. Welcome back to my workshop. I have been itching to get a dollhouse cleaned up and ready to go. And this is the one that's on my workbench, so I think I'm going to do it. Now, I bought this house not too long ago. It's a very pretty house. It's in pretty good condition. Very little rust or missing paint. A little bit crooked along here. I'll straighten that out. And let's turn it around. For some reason, it's got like masking tape along here. I'm going to take that off and see if there's an issue or what. But look how pretty the front of that house is. Now, I may sell this house when I get it cleaned up. Or I do have a college-age granddaughter that has expressed some interest in having a dollhouse and maybe decorating it for Christmas. This would be a perfect house for that. So I may be getting it ready for her. We'll see. If not, it will be available for sale. But it's a beautiful house in very nice condition, so it's an excellent candidate for either thing. So let me get my paper towels and my cleaner, and I'm going to clean this. Now, I've told you before how to do this. I'm going to tell you briefly again. I use a non-sudsy cleaner. This is in a spray 9 bottle, which is a great cleaner, but I happen to have awesome cleaner in it from the Dollar Tree right now. Just because that bottle was empty, I like that bottle a lot. It squirts very nicely. I always spray right on my paper towel, then I wipe off. Don't get minimum liquid in the house so that you don't cause rust in the future, and we'll just see how much of this comes off, and I'll take that tape off as I go. After we do that, we'll straighten it out. I got it cleaned and I got that masking tape off. I couldn't see any particular reason why that masking tape was on there. I can see, however, in this bedroom, right along here, you may not be able to see, but there's some stickers that some child or maybe an adult has put in there that are not original. They're very cute. They're little baby type stickers or something pastel, but I'm going to try to go ahead and take those off and hope they don't leave adhesive. One of the other few things on this, we're going to straighten this roof. There's a few little specks of like white paint here. I'm going to try to get those off. If they don't want to come off, I may touch them up with paint. And on the front side on the roof, when these houses are put together, these tabs are usually painted to match the roof. In this case, it's white, so they probably bent that the wrong way. Probably the other side is the blue or the teal color. But I'm going to go ahead and make that teal or blue, and this one too, just so that it doesn't stand out. And this one too, I'll touch those up. Otherwise, very little paint issues in this house. The chimney's missing, but I'll see if I've got a suitable replacement for it, just because some people like that, and that's kind of fun to have, especially if we decorate for Christmas. And the other thing is, on this bathroom floor, there's been tape on there. I think the tape is gone. I don't know if you can see, but there's a brown residue left there, and I'm going to try to get that off just because it looks dirty. We'll try with a basic cleaner. If that doesn't work, we might try something else. I've turned the light on in there and brought my camera a little closer so you can see these parts I'm talking about. There's this and this, and then over here there's another one. And the tape is gone, but it's left that hardened residue that's turned brown. I have been successful in the past with getting that off of other houses. Now, if it's still sticky, it's harder to get that residue off. I've not been very successful with that. But in the case of where it's hardened like that, this is what I've tried in the past. First of all, wipe it with a damp cloth, and then with something firm. In this case, I've got part of a Q-tip, the stick part, and just rub that on there and see if you can get that to come off or get that to fade. And I feel like it's sort of working. Now, you want to be careful, and if it looks like the paint's starting to come off, then you need to stop. Otherwise, you just have a worse spot. So I'm going to work at this a little bit, all three of those, and see if I can get that to be faded a little bit. If not, I'll just touch a little paint on them. So I've switched over to a wooden stick just because it gives me just a little bit more pressure, and just kind of rub gently in a circle. It does look better than it did I think I'm going to stop with this area. This one looks better than it did. But you want to wipe it, you want to scrape it a little bit with your wooden stick and then wipe it and then scrape it again. And always be gentle. Watch to make sure you're not taking off any paint. And I think I'm going to call that one as good as it's going to get. I just worry we'll be removing paint if we do any more. Let's try these spots out here. They're a little bigger, kind of an eyesore. First, damp it, wipe it with a damp cloth, scrape it a little bit with wooden works a little bit better, and then wipe it again and repeat. Just a quick update, I've continued this and done it several times. I did switch to using Goo Gone, but whenever you use a solvent, be very careful because it's pretty easy to remove your paint. So just take it slow. I just used a little bit, again, made my rag damp, scraped it gently, and then repeated with the rag. And I've done it several times and I'm about to call it quits. I think I'm going to be removing paint if I get any more aggressive with that, but it does look better, so I think we're going to call it quits. We might dab a little paint on there, but it does look a lot better than it did. Here you can see those stickers a little better. There's 3 along the side and 1 in the back and 1 back there. I'm going to just try to lift those with my fingernail and see if I can get them to pull off. Again, I'm going to try to not use any solvent in there. If I have to, I don't know, I might try a little Awesome Cleaner, or I might try the Goo Gone. But as always, I'll be very careful and very patient with it. I got the corner lifted up, so now I've been able to pull that sticker off. Let's hope the rest of them come off that easily. That was a success. All of those stickers came off and did not leave any residue. They were really cute stickers, but they didn't belong in there, so I took them out. Looks really, really good. Okay, we're going to straighten it, and then I might touch up a little paint. Here's my method for straightening. I use a piece of hardwood floor, and this is left over from when we put hardwood floor in our living room. Now, if you don't have a piece like this, you could use like a 2x4 or something else that's hard and stiff. I'm going to turn the house upside down because it's bowed down, so I'm going to want to hammer that way. So I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to try not to take this house apart, and then I'm going to get those bins out. And here, I'll put that up there so you can maybe see how far off that is. There, you can see how far, see that gap along there? That's how far off that is. It meets here and it meets here. And then this corner could also be bent that way a little bit. So I'm going to turn it over, lay this along the hardwood floor, and then I'll be hammering this way, only it'll be upside down. I could hold it like this and do it like that, but I'm going to try upside down first, I think. That is so much better. Look, you can see now. So much better. Hardly any gap along there at all now. Nice and straight, almost like new. So that's really good. Now, did I mention this hammer is a hard rubber hammer? It looks like metal, but it's hard rubber. And if you don't have a hard rubber hammer, you could take a regular metal hammer and like put a sock on it. I wouldn't hit metal against metal. You'd want something to kind of protect that metal a little bit. Okay, I've also taken a look at these little paint dots up here. I don't know if they're too small for you to see, and I found with my fingernail I can scrape those off. So I'm not going to worry. I'm going to scrape those off, and then I'm not going to worry about them. I'm not going to have to repaint those, I don't think. But it's nice to have those off because they're kind of an eyesore. And if they don't come off, then I'll tap a little paint on them. I spent about 10 minutes getting those little dots of paint off of the roof, and most of them are gone, and it looks so much better. So let's go on to painting. Now, there are a few scratches here on the kitchen floor, and when they're small like that, I use a Sharpie marker. And some of you have seen I keep my Sharpie markers in this like padded notebook. So I've got a variety of colors in here. I made little slots. I got this at like Goodwill one day, and this has been a nice way to store these because I can open it up, see everything I've got. I can store it flat, which is good for the markers, and they're all in one place, and I can always find them. So These little scratches tend to go really well. If you've got a marker about the right color, you can just cover those up, and that usually works very well. If they need a little paint, I'll put a little paint on them, but this is usually quite effective and very fast and easy. That was quick and easy. I might just try a few spots here on the roof because I've got the same color marker. Just darken anything up a little bit. Over here there's a little spot. Let's see how that goes. Is that going to work, or are we going to need some paint? I don't know if it'll work on this red or not. Let's try it. I think that's going to need a little bit of paint. Let's try this one over here. That one looks good. I'm pretty happy with that blue. Let's see if by chance we can fill this in, little mark here with a black Sharpie marker. There's several little nicks here along the edge of the roof. If we have to get our black paint out, we will. But I think some of these little ones I think we'll fill in with the marker. There's a little scratch right here I think I'm going to fill in. I've got the right color marker. I feel like since this one is dark, this marker might not fill in. But it might do okay up here where this is white. And let's try this dark blue on this dark blue stripe. You can see from a distance those look pretty good. Now I'm going to mix up a little of this gray blue and touch up there, and right there, and a few other colors. Otherwise, it's so close to being perfect. Alright, I've touched up the paint everywhere, and even there were a few spots that, like here along the front of the kitchen where I put marker, I went over that with a little bit of the perfect color paint just to smooth that out and blend it in. It looks so good. It looks like I said, nearly mint. Look how much better that roof looks. I ran along that with black paint also. The black marker just didn't quite fill in. So it's looking really good. This is done, except I'm going to polish it. And I'll check the paint in the daylight. This is night right now. I'll check the paint in the daylight and also see what I can do to find a chimney for this house. Otherwise, it's so close to done. We're about to finish this house up. I checked the color and it all looks really good. I also manufactured a chimney for this house. Now, I had it took me a little while to get that done. And I probably won't do it this way again, but let me tell you what I did. I did not have a chimney that was the right pattern. It should be this like stacked stone pattern, and I did not have one that was that pattern. So I found some pictures on the internet, and I have put the pictures together and made this chimney, and it is the right shape. It's close to the right color and pattern. It fits on there. It's not too bad, but I probably won't do this again. What I did is I printed it on regular typing paper because I didn't feel like sending it to Staples and then having to wait a day. So I just printed it at home on my color printer. So the paper was really flimsy. So I backed it with a piece of metal flashing. So it actually does have metal in it, so it's the right weight and the right texture and so on. But I did not back this part here on the top, so that part's kind of flimsy and it irritates me. And also I covered it with Mod Podge, so it's got a little shine to it. But when I print those at Staples, they print them on that shinier paper and they have a better shine. So I probably will not do this again. It was kind of a lot of work and I'm not 100% thrilled with it, but it's okay. And I wanted this to have a chimney because if we decorate it for Christmas, we're going to want to have a chimney on it for Santa and also to hold decorations. So it's not too bad, but I probably will not do it exactly that way again. So what we need to do to finish this house up is to polish it. And I'm going to show you my favorite product. Based on what my Dollhouse friends have shared, you can use about any car polish. I would not use a car wax because wax can give you some buildup. But you can use any car polish and it will shine them up nicely and help protect them. So this is the brand I like to use. Now, I say it's my favorite. I've only ever tried 2 brands. The other one also worked fine. This one applies a little bit easier. The other one came in a can, and I had to dip in and get it out and rub it on. This, you pour right out of the bottle, shake it up, pour it out of the bottle. I thought it was a lot easier to use. So I apply it. Every single surface will get applied. Let it dry to a haze, which only takes about 5 minutes. You just need a thin coat of this, and then you go back, and I use a microfiber cloth to wipe it off. So I am going to do that, and then we're going to call this house done. I'm going to let you watch me in fast motion. There you go. I'm going to talk about that polishing just another minute or two, but I want to show you one more thing. I forgot to touch up these white tabs out here. Now, had these been bent down the other way, they probably would have matched the exterior of the house, but whoever put this together bent those tabs up, and that's fine. But rather than have those be white, I'm going to touch them up, and I'm going to use, this is like a maybe a magenta colored marker. I don't know what they call it. It's kind of a purpley red. And I'm just going to go over those with that. And then I'm going to go back over it with a brown marker so it'll kind of match that wood tone a little bit better. In fact, this has got a little wood grain on it. So when I use that brown marker, it kind of makes it look a little bit almost like wood grain. So let's just kind of cover those up, and you'll see how quick that will camouflage those and make them kind of disappear so they don't stand out. See, we got 2 done. We got 2 still standing out. All right, I got it done. Got those tabs, so they're invisible now. Look at how pretty that shine is. This house is as shiny as it's ever going to be. Now I've got a few more things I want to share with you about that polish. First, where do I get it? I bought this on Amazon. You can also get it probably at Walmart and maybe places like O'Reilly, like car places where you can get car parts. But it's used for cars, so anywhere where you can get automotive things, you're very likely to be able to get this. There are probably other brands that are just as good. I happen to use this one. My husband had it in the garage and asked me if I wanted to try it. I tried it and I like it, so I recommend it. I'm going to put an Amazon link in my description for you, just for your convenience. Use it if that works out. Here's a couple of things you want to know though about using this. The time to apply this is after you've cleaned it and straightened it, and if you do any paint touch up, you want to do that first. If you do this first and then try to paint, that is almost a little bit, what's a protective coating, and it's hard to get that paint to stick. So you want to do this after you've touched up everything that you want to paint. Once in a while, it might be hard to get it wiped off. If you had some like crazing on your paint, you might have spots where it's hard to wipe that off. It might still stay hazy. I did not see that on this house, but if you do, just take a damp rag and wipe that off again. If you have trouble getting that hazing off, you can always touch it up with a little bit of paint or a Sharpie if you need to. Does this remove the paint that I've touched up? It might a little bit. Usually I don't find it to be of a concern. Since I've done this, I will go back and see if there's anywhere, if I want to put a little bit more black on there, I still can. I do avoid areas. If there was a lot of paint that I did, I might avoid putting this on there, but it really does not damage your paint a lot. It might a little bit. You might want to go back and do a few touch-ups. I had to touch up this tab. I already used a marker on it and touched it up. Let's look at that shine one more time. Every surface just shines. It's so beautiful. It's harder in this light to catch the reflection inside, but look at on that floor in the nursery. Every floor just shines just like that. Every floor and every wall. I do get a question about painting once in a while. Somebody asked me, where you paint, does it have the same shine that the rest of the floor does. And you probably cannot tell, but right here, I touched up this gray right here. There was a white spot. And now that's more of a matte finish. So it does not exactly have the same shine. But in my experience, even if I painted a pretty good sized area, once you get your furniture in there, that does not detract. It still looks beautiful and certainly looks better than a big white spot or a big rust spot. So in my opinion, I'm not concerned. Looking at it today, I can point out a little matte spot, but in real life, when you get your furniture in there, it just looks beautiful. And I'm going to end with a disclaimer because I usually give this at the start, and I will probably put a note on there when I edit this. But whenever you are working on a dollhouse, if you've not worked on that type of dollhouse before, you'll want to test any cleaners that you use on it. Make sure that it doesn't make your paint tacky. I used Awesome Cleaner on here. I've done many Mark's houses and never had a problem with Awesome Cleaner on a Mark's house. But depending on the cleaner you use and the house you have, you are wise to do a test spot first. If I do a test spot, I would do it like inside the roof right there or on the bottom. And I do want to show you the bottom of this house because it's very interesting. Look at the bottom is pink. I've never seen one that has a pink painted on the bottom, and I believe that is original. But that's where you'd want to test. See if it removes any paint, check your rag and see if any colors coming off on your rag, and touch it to see if it's getting tacky at all. So test your cleaners on your houses, especially if it's something you've not done before. Right, here it is. For all intents and purposes, it's done. Now, I will probably look at it in the light again tomorrow. So make sure I got all that polish wiped off, all that hazing wiped off. Look at it in some really bright light. See if there's anywhere I want to do a little paint touch up. For me, as long as it's on my workbench, it's really not done until it leaves my workbench. Then I'll probably take it downstairs, and I like to take pictures downstairs on my dining room table because the light's so much better. I'll put the lights inside so you can see how pretty it is. So you can come back in a day or two and take a look at the finished product. This house is beautiful, and I am so glad that you joined me to watch me bring it back to life. Remember, you always have a friend here in Iowa and a lot of friends in our Facebook group, so I hope you will join us. And thanks so much for subscribing. And if you haven't, I hope you will do so. Thank you.